Hi, how you doing? We're just working out whether or not I'm working and all of these things. Welcome to Wednesday. I'm on today because Sarah is on her Chanda craft store, Create and Craft, the other one, whatever it's called now, the craft store. I'm guessing that's why they changed their name. So Sarah's on that tomorrow. So I'm doing block of the week. Yeah, see? So we're actually going to be doing this one. All right, it's a beveled, I think that's what it was called, a beveled block, and it's supposed to be an optical illusion. Now, I chose fabrics. I wanted there to be a distinction, but we've actually decided that the red one looks more 3D because it's very close. They're closer in colour. So we'll have to have a look as we're going along. We're going to start with product things today. Hi everybody, how you doing? We're going to start with a couple of product things while people are coming on. Then we're going to do the challenge draw, the baby challenge draw, and then we'll do the block. Okay, so mindfulness is a big thing at the moment. Doing stuff mindfully, or being mindful of other people and your own health and stuff is all the rage at the moment. It should always be the rage. So we got a couple of these kits in. We've got a couple of different ones. This one is, these are all cross stitch ones, but we thought they were a little bit different. Okay, so these are really cool. They're dogs and cats. So we've got a couple of cats. Okay, these are retailing at £8.95. They all come with the hoop and your pattern and your thread that you need in there. Okay, so this is the hunting cat. I would assume that Sarah's put all these on the thing on the website. This is pensive cat. Oop. This is playful cat. I wonder if they've got a smelly cat. This is peaceful setter. This is attentive spaniel. Doesn't look anything like our spaniel used to look like. And this one is happy dachshund. Okay, so those are those. They're all cross stitch. Okay, and they're sort of like minimalist. So if you've ever thought, I'd like to try a cross stitch, don't do like I did. I bought this cross stitch which was huge, and I did some of it and I've never picked it up again, and that was what, 32 years ago. I think I gave it to Sarah's mother-in-law to do, I think, but I've never seen it, so it could still be under my stairs, you never know. These are just like, they're minimalist, so it's a good one to have a go and see whether you like it. So that's those. Then this one is this is also cross stitch. It's a mandala. Okay, I don't know whether, let me just move this camera down to see whether it'll catch up with me. This is a cross stitch as well, and it does there's two different patterns you can do. This also comes with one hoop, but it comes with two pieces of fabric. Okay, and there's two designs in there. There's that one. Then this one is an embroidery kit. Okay, again, two patterns in there, but it comes with all your products. Okay, everything that you need is in there. And these are £19.95, but like I said, there's two kits in there. And then this one is £19.95, and this one is also cross stitch. We have ordered others, but they were out of stock. And that is a beautiful floret of flowers, but there's only one in here, but it's a bigger hoop kit. Okay, and it comes with all your bits in there. There's Oh no, there's two. There's two different projects in there as well, but it's bigger. Okay, and that's £19.95, and the same as the little ones. Okay, and they're just really pretty. I mean, I would love to do this one. I'm thinking about that. Okay, so that's those. So going on to the bit that you're all waiting for. They do look great, don't they, Heather? It's definitely something maybe to take with you on, you know, if you're going on a train journey or something, you want something small, and that would be nice. You could, I think you stitch it in the hoop, and then you could frame it. Okay, you could do it and make a card, and once you've got that, you get the, is it Aida or Ada? Because my nan was Ada and it wasn't spelt with an I. You know, you could carry on doing it and do more in the same pattern, because you'll have the pattern. Or buy all of them and you'll have what? Ooh, umpteen patterns. Right, you all sent off pictures of your grandchildren, baby quilts, baby nappy bags and things like that. And it was brilliant to see. You were all interacting with each other, which is really good. So we are going to give you a pattern and the Little Ducklings charm pack. Now we do have this on the bolt. It is beautiful. It feels good, and it is just such a restful baby quilt. So if you want something to back it, we also have a double gauze, so you could do muslins to match it, which is really cool. So, as I'm the only one here, apart from Jen, I'm going to pick out a name. That one there keeps wanting to get into my hand. And the winner is Kay Brooks. Well done. That's lovely. So we will get in touch with you about this. I'm going to put your name in there so we don't lose it. Because you know, I'll just put it back in the bag and then I'll go, oh, I don't remember. So I'm going to put that in there. Let's fold that over like that and put that in there. So well done, Kay. So there we go. That's that one. Have you seen on Gigglers, Sian is doing, there's no competition, but Sian's doing a post on how the, what pets you've got. Jem, go on out with me. There's a good girl. That's a good girl. My fault, forgot to shut the door. Right, anyway, I put Betty up on there if nobody, if you know, I've been talking about her. She's about, they reckon she's about 60% of what she's going to be since she's 5.5 months. So we'll go from there. Right, beveled. You know we like a, what they're called, illusion quilt. And I quite like this one. This one kept coming up. But where I've used very contrasting colours here and in the green, we reckon this one shows off how it's done. How it looks more, thinking words there, it's more 3D illusionist like. So I think if I did it again, I would find a blue that was closer to this. I thought when I was picking fabrics that the red was the one I didn't like. So we're doing that one. Okay, so let's go to the overhead. Let's move up. I'll let it catch up with me. Okay, so I don't know whether this would work with a patterned fabric. I don't think so. I think you need block fabrics, really. So I'm going to show you the yellow one of the yellow ones. Okay. So we're going. This will make 2 blocks. Okay. So you want a light colour and a darker colour, maybe not darker than this. I went with a spray time and a solid because I thought that would denote, that looks as if it's got light shining on it compared to that. Okay, so there I've cut those at 5 inches. Okay, and then I've cut 2 pieces of the light fabric, and I cut them at 5, but I think I would probably cut them at 5.5 or 6 if I was to do it again, so that you're able to cut it off to the size of the block rather than hope that it's going to be the same, you know, when you come to trim them down. And you'll want 2 of the same size for the solid block, the darker block. Okay, and then I've cut these are miles too long. I just used what came last. I was able to, out of a 5 inch, I cut 5.5 inch, but out of a 5.5 inch strip width of fabric, I was able to cut 2 light, 4 of these and 4 of those. 1, 2, yes, no, yes, that would be right. That would be right. So that was out of a 5 inch strip. Okay, I've cut these at 2.5 inches wide. So you'll, they're 2.5 inches wide. So you could use, if you had a jelly roll in any of these colours, why you would want all of these colours in a jelly, I don't know whether they do that. Anyway, so with the fabric, if you had a shape cut, that would be really easy cutting, because you're just cutting a 2.5 inch strip. You could do it where you sew it in, chain piece it. You could do it all in one colour. It doesn't have to be in different colours. I just wanted to try it in different colours. Right. Shh. Now, Sarah, we'll go back to there. Right. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to build the blocks, and then we'll get to sewing. All right. So, I should have stayed on there. Right. So, no, it's 3 is overhead, isn't it? Do you know what? I don't know what I'm doing here today. It's all gone very big now. So you've got your 2 blocks. We're going to build the light coloured block, and you're going to use the dark colour to go around it. Okay, so you're going to sew to either side, and then we're going to sew them over like this. Now, Sarah's done something very similar before, so it's, for you, it'll be easy sewing. So we're going to sew, and then this one will be with the light ones around it. Okay, so we're going to stop yattering, and I'm going to sew these together. So let's go over here to a 4, and I've lost everything. Hang on. Oh, energy bills. Ugh. I'll leave Dave to do all that, bless his heart. Okay, let's lift that foot. Let's see if I can find her 1/4 inch foot. And that's for the quicker sewing. What colour we got in there? Not very much. These are things that we should, oh, I would have been halfway through sewing and found out that that was missing. Okay, let's use that one. So, there we go. Okay, so that's there. What we got? We haven't got anything in the top. Hang on. Didn't think to look. Okay, my machine is in the shop, in the doctor's shop, and I miss it terribly. Sarah's lent me her little brother, and it's okay, but it's not mine. I miss mine. So I'm hoping they're going to give me a ring before I go away. Oh. Okay. Now, is the camera okay? You can see everything, can you, on this camera? £91? Oh, what are you going to do with that? I know a shop you can spend it in. Okay, so we're putting these right sides together. And like I say, I would probably have used a longer strip if I'd have thought about it. Or if I'd have done one instead of doing all of them in one go. So we've done that, and then we're going to put that side on there, like this. So yeah, I've got holiday next week, and I am really looking forward to it. I'm hoping it would be nice if it snowed, but I don't know whether Cornwall snow would be the thing. And we're going to turn it over, and we're going to do the other side and put those on. Okay, like this. I was sewing last night, and the dog kept pushing a ball underneath my foot, so I was ending up and then lying on my foot on the pedal. So all of a sudden there'd be a zoom because I couldn't lift my foot off it. She just likes to be with you. Okay, so sorry Sandy, it's something that I am not going to be able to fix. If it freezes, it's either our Wi-Fi or yours. It's just a home thing. It's just as likely to be your end as ours. I don't know whether it will work better if you watch it back later. Sometimes that means it doesn't freeze. Right, so overhead 3. You know about straightening up, don't you? So I'm going to run this along one of my seams. It should line up on all of them. There really is very little to cut off there, but we're just going to make sure that it's all level. This is where I think if you were to be able to have it long, if you'd have made them wider, it would be a lot easier cutting. You'd be able to line it up easier. So you can see I'm lining up with along on one line along on my my line of sewing. So we know that that should be straight because I used a 1/4 inch foot, and you can see that I am cutting the minimal off like this. Okay. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to build that way now. Okay, because I haven't cut it to size, it's a lot better, this one. Okay, so how are we doing? What camera? Which camera is not working? Okay, I'm not sure which camera is not working. I can hear her coming. I can hear her running down the road. Hello.
Hey, honey.
What camera?
This camera needs activating. It's frozen on a shot from me.
All right.
So go to OBS. Bear with us a second.
OBS.
Can you see that's my arm from last night? OBS.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
That one?
No. Open it. You right clicking.
Oh.
Okay. Let me just. So on 4. There you go. You're fine now. This one was frozen on a shot from last night.
Oh!
And it had to be reactivated. So when they were saying it's frozen, they were just seeing a frozen shot of my arm last night.
Oh, I was thinking I'm a bit warm. I don't know how it'd be frozen because I'm very warm. Okay, right. So we're here now.
Yeah. So
yeah.
you want to go back to 3, which you will in a second. They'll flip over now.
Back to 4.
4. Sorry, you're back up. You're going back to sewing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that, ladies. The thing is, I can't, see, I don't know what I'm doing. How's this? Is this okay? Right, so you can see what I've done now. I've sewn the 2 short pieces of the opposite fabric to my 5-inch block. We are now going to sew the longer pieces to the whole lot. Now, you've all done this before. Okay. I was never any good at things like Space Invaders or Butterfly when you swim. There was far too many things to think about. And I find I forget to look at what you're saying. Okay. And do this. Okay, so we've done that one and we're going to put the darker fabric on the light square like this. Now of course, really you should all be pinning to make sure your seams all lie flat. And all your fabric's the right size, but you all do that, don't you? There we go, that's that one. And we're going to turn it and do the other side. So what have you all been up to? What did you do this weekend that's just gone? What did I do? Oh, I had the girls. So I did a lot of whatever they wanted, really. I did a lot of Granny. We spent a lot of time in the yoga room with them doing bunny hops and somersaults. It's your turn, Gran. No, I'm not doing a somersault. Tree is about as energetic as I get. Okay. Oh. Extra bits here. So now we've made our 2 squares, we are going to square them up. Now I found that squaring them up, just going to square them up straight and then go on to the next bit. So, where are we? If we go through to there, okay. Oh, that's lovely, Lynn. Natalie's your daughter, isn't it? It's nice that you were able to see her. Anne's been doing some sewing for us, and those cushion covers, they are so neat. They are far neater than I could possibly do. I did sewing yesterday, Anne. I sewed and took photos of the bucket storage. So pattern, you will be pattern testing in a day or 2. Okay, depends on how long it takes me to write that pattern. It's only taken me a year so far, so we're almost there. Right, so again I'm going to line up my my ruler lines with my sewing lines, hand flat, and I'm just going to cut off the ends and make it straight. Okay, so you can see where there's been times where I've beveled. So I'm lining up one of my lines along that sewing and this sewing here to make sure that I'm straight. I wouldn't worry about this line, you know, the outer lines, the top and bottom lines for this, because we're going to cut it down once we do the next stage. Okay, like this and like that. Now we're going to treat these now like a half square triangle. That's what we're making, half square triangles. I need to make sure that I have a pen. So I'm going to draw from corner to corner. Okay, I need a longer ruler. Is that a longer ruler? Yeah, that'll work. I'm going to need that one after this as well. It should work. Okay, no, it doesn't work, but what we're going to do is we're going to line it up with these corners in here, okay, and that way it should line up with everything. Okay, like that. It's a very faint line, but you get the picture. At the Ritz? Oh, Jane, that sounds amazing. Quite like the idea of going to the Ritz. Okay, so I sewed it where I put the two short lines together like that, and you ended up with a lot of busyness in the one corner. So the next ones I've turned so that you put your long edges on the top, on the one that's face up, and then the one that goes face down on top, I've put it so that my long pieces are on the side. Does that make sense? Okay, right, we are going back over here. Now, you know about half square triangles. We're lining up our needle with the line that we've just drawn right down the middle, so that you get 1/4 of an inch on that side. Then we're going to turn it round and 1/4 of an inch back up. Okay, so we're, no we're not, no we're not, ignore me, it's because I normally use the needle, the other needle, the thingy. Right, what you're doing is you're lining up your 1/4 of an inch, we'll cut that bit in the edit. You line up your 1/4 of an inch with your line so that your needle sews 1/4 of an inch to the side. I'm only testing you all, okay? Okay, so yesterday I didn't use a 1/4 of an inch foot. I used my normal foot and moved the needle. That way you haven't got to worry about it catching on anything. Okay. The bucket storage, Claire, it's an easy bit of kit. I'm loving it. I made one, or we were going to do a class on it, and I made one last year. We were going to do a Zoom class, but it was only Anne that booked on it, so we cancelled it, and she's been waiting. I've been promising her a pattern for the last year. I use it to store all my my wool and my crochet hooks. Okay, so we've now sewn 1/4 of an inch on either side. Okay, So we're now going to cut it. The fabric, Eileen, is spray time. I quite like a spray time. I have to be honest, I prefer the look of a spray time to grunge, but that's a personal feeling. I know everybody likes a grunge. The grunge does so beautifully, but then so does spray time. However, my favouriteest is probably linen texture in the blendery ones. Okay, so we now have 2 pieces, okay, and we are going to iron them out. I don't know, is that far enough over? Can you see what it is yet? Okay, so you're going to iron it out like that. Okay, just iron it out like that. Now, my points are awful, but when it goes up, and if you're using ones that are more colours closer together, you're not going to notice when it's away. We're going to do this one because the points are better on this one. How can you get the points right on one and not on another? Isn't that strange? Just look. It doesn't quite meet there. So obviously I don't go straight. Right, we're going to trim this one up. I'm going to do it so that, because it's that way round for you, isn't it? Now if you look at it, your 45-degree angle runs up here, which I line up then with this. Okay, now I worked out that all my blocks would cut at 8.5, and this one is just going to be 8.5. So I've lined up all the way along on this line, you see. So I'm just going to trim off the tiny little bit that needs doing. Like that. So what I'm going to do is I can line that up with that, and we know that that one up the top is flat. Perhaps I should have put that at the bottom. Like that. Everything's within my 8.5. So I've trimmed that one. I now know that this corner is right. So I put my 8.5 on this corner. My 45-degree line runs up my middle ish. Need to make sure that there's 8.5 runs along the bottom, along the side. You line up, hand heavy, fingers in. There we go. There we are, and you have a block. Now, I then used a linen texture, mainly because that was what was in my stash. So in order to put 2 of them together, what colour are we going? Yep, it would be yellow and red. Now, I've made sure that the light bit is in the top. Okay. So you need to make sure that each time that you lay them together, you want to put the lighter fabric is in your top right. Okay. It is a satisfying looking block. I'm quite happy with this. I've done enough now to do another 2 rows on it, which will be big enough for a baby quilt. Or or the middle, and then I'd just stick a huge border around it, or do more. But that was from a metre of fabric. Yes, all the blocks would be just under, no, it wouldn't even be a metre of fabric. A metre of fabric would be even bigger. if I cut 5 inches, 5 inches is 10 inches, just under 10 inches is 1/4 metre. So if you're cutting 5 inches, then yeah, 1/4 metre would make, of each of the fabrics, would have made twice as much. That's right, isn't it? So you can see now I will sew these two together like that. I would do a row of 4 and then trim them off, make sure they're straight, and then I would put a piece underneath. So we're going to sew it like this. So we're going to come over to here, and we're just going to put your sashing on. Yeah, I remembered the word. Okay, so we sew the sashing on this way. Okay, so no, wrong one, that one. So we've sewn that sashing on there. Okay, now with this we want to make sure that they're turned round the right way, and then you're going to flip this over, line it up with the edge of your sashing, but also make sure that it's in line with your block underneath. Okay, so that they run together. Now for this I probably would stick at least a pin in it to make sure it's not moving between here and the machine, which is what it very often does. Okay, yeah, no, I actually cut the width of the ruler, which is 6.5, because I was going to do them at 6 inches to make them bigger, but then I thought if you do it at 5 it would make an easier kit. Haha! So there we go. Right, and with this then we're going to, I ironed to the dark side, so I ironed to the sashing so that it lines up in the sashing, if you see what I mean. So I iron towards the sashing. I haven't had to think about lining up any of my points, you know, seams, because you're putting sashing. You haven't got to worry about whether or not you've ironed it that way or this way. But I iron the sashing in so that it lays flat. There's less bulk at the corners. Okay, so there you go. And I would then build my row of 4, or whatever it is, the row of 4, and then put a long sashing in between and just build them up. I'm going to put sashing all the way round, and then sashing all the way around, and then really it's done. It's a small lap quilt really, and it's bright. That's what I liked about this. It was really bright. Okay, that's done. So I'll be interested to see what you lot come up with. The thing with this is you only have to have a small amount of fabric in order to do this. Okay, even if you only had enough, you know, like a fat eighth, you'd be able to do 2 blocks at least. Okay, and from that then you would just build it up. It's a good large scrap builder. if you see what I mean. Whether or not you make it so that it's 3D illusion, or whether you put in patterned fabrics, it's one of those ones that make it look as if you've done a lot more work than there actually is in the block. So that's it. That's me. That's us today. This week from the studio. Sarah's on her Chanda tomorrow, 1 and 5, I believe. And she says that there has been a request from the people joining last night for a walk around the shop. So depending on how Linda and my day goes, then I will try and get round to that between 2 and 3. But we've got packing. There's been a June Taylor thing. We've got packing today, tomorrow. Shows today, packing tomorrow, and Friday. Right, that's it. That's me done. Over and out. I will remember to turn the camera off properly this time. You can see what I'm like when it's all done. It's like I'm finding I grit. Relax. See, maybe I should have a gin and tonic with me while I'm doing this. I'll see you next week. No, I won't. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? You take care. And I should move this before I say bye.